Most people would run a mile to avoid a needle, but these patients are lining up to get a jab.
A little pinch here and a little poke.
They're part of one of the world's largest COVID-19 vaccine trials.
I'm doing it because, again, I'm a retired healthcare worker and understand the challenges that COVID-19 has caused our community and state and the whole country.
This week, biotechnology company Moderna and the US Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases began the final phase of human testing. They're looking to recruit 30,000 volunteers across the US.
We're in unprecedented times. The vaccine is our best hope of resolving this infection, getting it under control.
Drug giant Pfizer and its partner BioNTech also launched final stage trials this week. Both are pushing to be first to market by the end of the year.
When we have that vaccine, it will be discharged and taken care of. It'll be a very, very rapid process all over the country. And perhaps we'll be supplying a lot of the vaccine to other parts of the world.
German and Russian scientists are also in the race, but Germany's research minister says a 2020 timeframe is unlikely.
We cannot expect any miracles at this point. We still have to assume that vaccines will not be available to the general public until the middle of next year at the earliest.
According to the World Health Organization, more than 160 vaccines are in development around the world. Of those, almost 140 are still being tested in labs and on animals. Another 25 are at various stages of human trials. 18 are being tested on a small number of people in phase 1 trials. 11 have progressed to larger phase 2 trials. And 5 have reached the third and final stage, which involves large-scale community testing. But the accelerated development has caused concerns about their safety.
There is this reluctance to get vaccinated. I think it has to do with a lot of things that we can clarify, that speed is not compromising safety, nor is it compromising scientific integrity.
At the same time, though, there's a need for speed, as infection rates and deaths keep rising. Melinda Nucifora, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, let's speak to Dr Muhammad Munir. He's a virologist at Lancaster University. Welcome back to Money Talks, Doctor. Now, let's start with the developments surrounding the Moderna experimental vaccine. Now, it uses new so-called mRNA technology to fight the virus, which I understand has never been used in any successful vaccine before. Can you just explain to us more about that method, and do you think it'll be safe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me once again, Oscar. The mRNA-based vaccines are really new in one way because there isn't any vaccine at the moment that is being deployed in the field. And this technology has been around for the last 20 years. So there are certainly some concerns about the efficacy as a whole on its technology. So what it does normally, it takes the nucleic acid of the virus, which is a genetic material, and encodes into a capsulated adjuvant and put into the human being. And once it is sensed by our body, it's considered as an antigen, as the actual virus that it is coming in. And then body sense it and produce the antibodies against that. And those antibodies, if under natural viral infection, they would neutralize the virus, and that's how it works. But certainly this is a new technology, only 20 years of history, but not having a very strong track record.
Now, do you think it'll be safe in the end?
Well, one of the major concerns at this moment is that the speed of which these vaccines are being developed. This normally is a 5 to 10 years process, but now we have sequestered everything into 12 to 18 months. So this is certainly a significant compression against the time. And one thing is very clear is that the first vaccine wouldn't be an ideal vaccine. So as some of you already know, that the World Health Organization stated that if any vaccine would be 70% effective, they would consider it for the regulatory process. And FDA put the bar even lower, that 50% if a vaccine is effective, they will consider it for regulatory processes. So this means that the first vaccine probably wouldn't be an ideal vaccine, but then we have other 25 vaccine in the pipeline. So hopefully down the line, there would be some vaccine that would really hit the mark that what we are expecting.
Interesting. Now, the injection that's currently being developed by AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford recently announced promising results in its latest trials. As you say, it's one of more than 100 vaccines that are currently being developed around the world right now. Which do you think shows the most promise?
Well, all of the data that we are having so far are either based on the animal studies or in the phase 1 and phase 2 trials, which are mainly designed against looking onto the safety, if there are any serious concerns about that, or some level immunity, what kind of immune responses are induced. So all the data that we are having against 4 or 5 different technologies, including adenoviruses, which is based on the vaccine for the Oxford AstraZeneca, or mRNA-based vaccine, which is BioNTech, Pfizer's, and Moderna. So all these technologies have induced strong level of immunity in the phase 1 and phase 2 trial. But again, those trials have been conducted in healthy human being, and of course the healthy animal as well in the animal trial. But then there are questions whether the same level of responses will be induced into the human which are having either elderly or those are having some comorbidity, pregnant women and children. So it's really difficult to state anything for sure until the phase 3 data would become available, which would span across multiple geographies, multiple human beings and different comorbidities. So those are the ones that we will be looking on to when it comes to the regulatory processes and really ensuring that these are something that we need to count on.
Now, the UK has announced that it struck a deal with GlaxoSmithKline and the French partner Sanofi to buy millions of doses of a potential vaccine that they may come up with. They join the US in buying up tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of doses of other potential vaccines around the world. Now, we know they have the spending power in order to do that. Are you worried that perhaps poorer nations are going to miss out on any potential vaccine?
Well, if we look onto the trend on these trades that are being, or the deals that have already been set up by the developed countries, these are enormous. Every country who have had the resources, they have scooped most of the capabilities for manufacturing of those vaccines once they become approved. That also means that there is a certain level of concerns whether the developing countries would be able to access that. Although the intentions are underlying or on the way, for example, the Gavi meeting last month here in the UK, they have pledged around $8 billion for making sure that the vaccines, once they become approved, would be distributed to the developing countries who cannot afford. However, there is something that is lacking, and that is a consensus international board laws that need to be defined now to see who will get the most. Is the one who will invest the most, who will make the deal earlier, or the one who needed the most.
Yes, okay. Dr. Muhammad Munir from Lancaster University, thank you again for joining us on the program.